Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, doing another week in the life of. So we've been extremely busy this summer, as you guys know, working on the new building and trying to prepare to get our giant parts stash moved into this building. So this week, I think, is the week we're planning to hopefully get all our stars aligned. We're gonna rent a 26-foot box truck and with a lift gate, hopefully, maybe, see, and drive back and forth and do as many trips as we can and get pallets that Mike and Ryan already have shrink wrapped and set up moved over here. And we're also going to try and get some of the parts even put away this week. Lofty goals as always. I also am going to try and finish the gauge panel on the green 32, and we got some little bit of work going on, and who knows what we're going to get into, but we're going to try and get a lot done this week. But the main theme of this week is get some of our parts moved and see if they're actually going to fit in the building. So let's get started. It's Monday. Alright, so it is Tuesday, and yesterday I finished up the dash project and then took a break. I have to do some polishing and stuff starting today, but Steve and I turned our attention to cleaning the shop up. That's been the main, I guess, theme of this whole entire summer, has been putting the new building up, reorganizing every building, all the stuff, finding every corner that's got junk piled up and addressing it and just getting rid of it or doing something with it. So we've been reorganizing in here. So yesterday, this area under the lift, which is like our storage lift, it turned into just where things went to die for a while. So we had multiple flatheads. There's always at least 3 to 5 flatheads under there at all times. You could see still, even after organizing, there is one. There's another mystery flathead over here. This is an old race engine that we started tearing into, that we found in New York at an estate where we got 38 convertible and some other stuff, but we just never got any further than that. But what we did get everything out of the way, got the chassis table finally back inside because it was sitting outside and getting rusty. And we got rid of our blast cabinet. So I had my Eastwood blast cabinet I've had for 10, 12 years. And I basically passed that on to my nephew Evan because he's getting more interested in this stuff. And I got a new blast cabinet, one of Eastwood's new cabinets that we're going to set up in the other building next door when we get a little further. But what we did is moved all we like but went through and just audited. These bins were all like stock I had for machining and stuff, and it turned into, I'm sure everybody can relate to this, like every scrap of metal that I thought I might do something with. And these bins were just totally overflowing underneath the lift. And when we started like going through and auditing it, there's really not that much when you get all the junk out of there. We went through all our radiator hoses. We had every scrap of radiator hose that we'd ever pulled off an engine or new ones, and we just got it down to stuff that's usable. So now these bins are nice and organized, and they can live there. Eventually we're going to move the tire machine next door, and we have the balancer way in the back that we never use because it's all the way in the back. So we're going to move those eventually. What Steve's working on is, this is the engine out of our friend Pete's convertible, a 46 convertible or 47 convertible we stole summer, or was it last year? It may have been a year before, I don't remember anymore. This was the engine that was out of it, and for anybody that doesn't remember, it's a really fun video. Our friend Pete parked this 46.7 convertible, I don't know, it was probably close to 10 years ago now, or 7, 8 years ago, because he had an ignition issue, and then time went on. And anyways, when we got the car, we started messing and the engine was stuck, and basically we pulled ahead and found this nightmare. Basically, these studs were leaking coolant for 10 years or 7 years and filled these cylinders up, and everything got all pitted and stuck, and we decided to pull the engine. I threw an engine I had on the stand, run stand in the car, delivered it to him, and it still is not 100% like roadworthy. We got to do brakes and some other stuff we need to finish. But this engine's been sitting in the corner for that 2-3 years now, or 2 years, and I asked Pete what we wanted to do with it. It's just a stock rebuild, we think, so we're going to gut this engine. We think it's a good block because he was driving it, so we're going to save the block, but we need to get it out of the corner and gut it, at least put it in the other building with a tag on it that it's a good core. So that's what Steve, and I'm going to help Steve a little bit today, but I have to work on getting this dash panel polished up today. That's my big project. So I got it in, mounted in the dashboard, looks awesome. So I need to make an insert for the center here, but most importantly, I need to get to polishing and smoothing all the rough casting there. So I'm going to work with the DA sander and my Eastwood buffer, get that thing shining up so we can finish that dash part of this project. We're getting very close to Wheels of Time show, and I need to get that thing going. So that's what we have going today. Mike's doing warehouse stuff, trying to catch up on orders from being off for 3 days. So that's what's up. Alright, so while I've been sanding and buffing, Steve's been fighting with this engine. And you got had to cut a couple valves, basically the cylinders that were, one of them that was leaking down, you said the valve was open?
Yeah, the one that was really bad, the intake valve was open the whole time, and everything was just such a mess. I just had to cut it apart and beat it out with a hammer.
Yeah, so that valve, we actually saw, I don't know if you could shine the light down and you can actually see the rust.
Yeah.
That was like in here.
Bottom of the cylinders.
That was seeping down from sitting with water, and it was like for a while was the rusty water was seeping past the rings, I guess, at some point, and until it rusted fast. So Steve had to cut a couple valves, sacrifice them to get it out. The one good thing we found, this is right here. This is the way you can tell a Merc crank on a Ford crank. This is a Merc crank, because you can kind of, way my buddy Pete taught me is you can stick your pinky, tip of your pinky in there. On a forward crank, this would probably be, I don't know, like half that size. It would be like sticking a point of a pencil or something in there. So as soon as we opened this up, we saw that it has the more modern bearings in it, and then we shined a light down inside and it has EPA rods in it. So when this was redone, it's only 60 over. The camshaft doesn't look like it's anything other than stock. I don't remember the car sounding real aggressive or anything.
It looks like a stock camshaft. So
this boat, when they rebuilt this engine, they put the 4-inch crank in it with the modern rods and bearings and stuff. So that's good. Now the problem we have that we always run into is some of the cylinders, especially those ones that were really rusty, the rings are so stuck to the cylinder wall that we can't move everything, and there's always like 1 or 2 rod nuts that you just can't, no matter what you do, you can't get them out. And even if you can get the nut off in some contortionist fashion, you still can't get the nut physically off all the way. So that's what we're running into. And what I've done in the past, I know it's people cringe, but I've just cut the rod. I've gotten down in there with a Sawzall, cutting the rod, then we can get the crank out, and we sacrifice 1 or 2 rods. They're not anything special, they're just APA rods. And then you can pound the pistons out from the bottom. I just have gotten tired of engines sitting on this table for months at a time soaking, and they still don't break free. So that's where we may be. Steve's got a bunch of them moving, but we're going to have to see what ones are left. The other problem is we can't turn the crank because everything's stuck to get all the bolts out for the flywheel and or the pressure plate rather. So we're going to try and get this further apart, but at least it's looking good as far as the contents of the engine. So that's what's going on. All right, make them cringe. What's that? The new blade does the job.
Oh, did it ever? Almost. Got another inch till it's up at the top of the deck. You can knock it.
That should let us get the
piston
piston
out. That should be enough to get it out.
Crank out, hopefully. Come on, let's go. Good boy. All right, I successfully got pulled around Tractor Supply to get some screws for the gauge panel by this Moondog. He got some free treats, so he's psyched. And go ahead, up in, go ahead. Good boy.
Alrighty, today is the day. Matt's backing up with our box truck. We gotta move all of this. So this is a little bit of everything. We got a bunch of our stuff that's inventoried and on the for sale, and then all this stuff in the back here is parts we need to go through. So we got just about the same amount of both. There's more pallets upstairs, but we'll see how far we get today. So we'll open up the box truck and start dragging it in with the pallet jack. All right, Jim and I are getting our 5th load of the day. This is what we have left. Bunch of heavy mechanical stuff. We're gonna do another trip or two in a couple weeks once we get some stuff sorted. All this needs to go. There's a little bit over here. Some engine stuff. We have a ton of engines. There's 2 there, there's 3 there. There's a bunch on the other side of the wall. A little bit of clutch and transmission parts. These are parts that still need to be sorted and gone through from the past couple years, a little bit of lenses, but I mean, it's pretty empty in here. Rears is a whole nother thing we need to tackle. All of Matt's stuff is still here and the merch. So, I mean, there's probably another 3 to 4 truckloads worth. You know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's another 15 pallets of stuff just up here. So we're gonna keep chipping away. I'm gonna go help Jim put the last bit of it in the truck. We got a bunch of body panels yet over there, so There's a bunch of stuff we need to do, but we got a huge chunk done. The body panel stuff I can do with Big Red, so that's good. I can take a truckload here and there, but all these engines and pallets, we need a box truck just to make our lives way easier. So let's get this last bit in the truck to the shop and we're done for today. I can't believe we got 5 loads done in an 8-hour day. It's crazy.
All right, so the past 2 days have been very crazy. Yesterday we got up early, basically went to Penske right when they opened, got a 26-foot box truck, and we went to the warehouse, got a load, and basically we split up into 2 crews, and myself, Steve, and my father stayed here, and then Mike and Ryan basically were running back and forth with the truck, loading the truck, and as they were doing that, the 3 of us were trying to put stuff away as quick as possible. Definitely we weren't able to do that quicker than they were bringing it, but we were able to kind of keep the floor sort of clear. And then at the end of the day, this whole floor was basically covered with pallets, and the whole upstairs, you couldn't even walk. So today, what Steve, Mike, and myself were trying to tackle is my big rule, try and get the big red truck to be parked inside. So we were able to do that. We have enough space in here that we could pull the red truck in, and we were able to tackle the upstairs quite a bit, and we got a lot of stuff on the shelves, got a walkway in there. There's still a crap ton of pallets that have to be gone through.
We'll walk up there.
Yeah,
then.
we'll walk up there in a minute. So basically we tried to get down here, we got most of the stuff put away. We have some stuff like transmissions and some Columbia parts and stuff that they will eventually go back there, but we need to kind of stage everything correctly. But the big thing was we got like trim rings away, we got like bumpers up here.
Well, let's just say all 4 of these carts were overflowing.
Yeah, with body panels, we have steering boxes we put away. Making a big dent, but the one thing I want to mention is people were like, there's no way you're going to fit everything. We have a lot of empty shelves still,
yes.
Which is kind of surprising to us too. We still have a bit to bring back, but it's surprising how many of these shelves are empty or they have stuff on them that isn't even going to end up there. So back in the back section, I know our lights situation is crappy. It's on the to-do list. That was the the overwhelming comments for the last time. Why don't you do lights? Well, we need to move our stuff first, because if we spend all our time doing lights and electricity in the building, but we don't get our stuff moved in time before we have to have it out of the building, it's not going to matter, because we have lights in an empty building, all our shit's going to get.
But we have lights then.
But then we have lights, but all our parts are in the warehouse that is now getting gutted and scrapped. Great. So I know it's a little backwards, but we're trying to get all our inventory moved, and in the background we're going to work on getting, a lighting situation. For now, we have some extension cords with lights set up, and it's working okay. But you kind of can see without the lack of lights.
It's filling in.
It's filling in nicely. We have all our different body styles, and we're getting like all our 37-9 dashboards are, in here. We have, a lot more body panels.
Yes, there's a lot of big car stuff we got to move, which is going to take up a bunch of real estate.
Yeah, a bunch of space. But we got a lot of this stuff, and there is still space We got a lot of our steering stuff.
And we actually talked about, we're going to be adding, I think on the ends of these aisles, some pegboard.
Oh, yeah.
And over on the walls over there to do garnish molding, because there's like 3,000 pieces of garnish molding from New England. So we're
Yeah.
trying to figure out a way to organize it nicely.
Yeah, so we're doing some of that. First kind of idea for doing some of that, for instance, is Mike used to have a shelf at the warehouse that was like all random steering wheels. So we put up some scrap leftover birch from the upstairs, and I just put some screws in and hung our steering wheels. They're right here. So the idea is at all the ends of these racks, some of the walls and stuff, if we could put pegboard up and things like that, we can hang some items like this that are, you know, kind
Yeah,
of out of the way.
this wall here, if we put pegboard on the whole thing, that's a lot of garnish molding to
so-
fit.
The idea, as you can see under the stairs and everything, we're tacking in.
Oh yeah, look, there's more garnish molding under the stairs.
Great. And then up here is a bit of a mess. We have all our kind of headlight stuff in this general vicinity, but we need to put it on the shelf and organize it. That's going to take some time.
And we did empty 1, 2, 3 pallets worth of stuff.
3 pallets worth of stuff, yes. And we started, Mike was working on getting some of the speed equipment put away, and this is kind of mirroring some of what he had in the warehouse space, just where you're trying to get even more organized and audit some of it. Some of these shelves aren't fully organized yet, but like I was tackling gauges earlier, so we just have like our Ford gauges here that are basically Model A to 34, and then we have our 37 to 9 stuff in here, and then up top will be 40 and newer. And then we have our aftermarket and other brand gauges here. So now we can just walk over and see what we have, which is nice. Advertising is multiple shelves, and this is just all our kind of memorabilia and ephemera and advertising, whatever you want to call it, all the fun stuff that we all like to buy that isn't car parts. And then we're going to do something with books and magazines. We have a ton of that. So we're going to try and maybe this shelf or somewhere, get all that moved. And then all of this, minus maybe one pallet, is
Yeah.
all stuff that has to be gone through that we've bought over the last, I don't know, some of it's 3 years old, 2 years old.
All of this stuff is in the last 9 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I lied. So there's maybe a pallet or two downstairs then that's older. But this is all stuff in, let's say, within the past year.
We'll make it it sounds a little bit better that way.
Sounds a little less crazy. The last year that we've bought that we need to go through and organize and see what it all is. And that's now Mike and I kind of, with the stuff being a little more centralized, we can tackle this all. You know, sometimes what I'm doing now that we have the building here is at night after I eat dinner, I come out for maybe an hour and I'll go through some items, where before our warehouse space wasn't that far away, but it was like 15, 20 minutes away. And it was just a pain at night to go over there, do that, come back. So here I can just come right out, handle it, and then we're getting a little more stuff going through. We're also answering emails and getting product requests, you know, answered back to customers quickly, which is...
It's already worked better. In the first 9 days of August, we listed 250 items, so we're cruising through it.
Yeah, doing good. So that's what we have going on. This week was not as much fun car stuff, but I did do some driving in between. I just didn't film. I went to a cruising the other night in the 32 and just did car stuff but didn't feel like filming. We got the McCungy cruising this weekend, and next week, I don't know when this video is coming out, we have Wheels of Time in McCungy. It's a big 3-day street rod show in our area that has been going on for a number of years. We always have a big tent. We're going to be bringing out probably convertibles and roadsters this year. So if you can make it, come out. We're right by the registration tent for the Wheels of Time. Right when you come in the front of the show, you'll see our big circus tent there, and we'll have cars and be hanging out and all that. So come by, say hello, give a high five, ask questions, give us money. I don't know.
Buy a t-shirt.
Buy a t-shirt. That'd be cool. But yeah, just come say hi. So thanks guys for following along. Catch you later.